Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. This is going to be an inside look into the 7 players who have been invited to the Masters Series. Canada Cup Gaming is putting it on. It'll be this coming weekend in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
That's right. And this has been making for like the last few years already.
Yeah.
So all of the previous winners of Canada Cup are all qualified for this already. There was also an extra qualifier from Wednesday Night Fights put on by Level Up. And then finally, of course, they're inviting the EVO champion from last year. And it's going to be a round-robin, first to 7 between these 7 players as well as an 8th player who will be determined basically right before the event takes place.
Yeah, there's going to be an open tournament at the start of that weekend, and then we'll know who the 8 are. So those 8 will have, as you said, a round-robin. You can catch the whole thing at twitch.tv/Canada Cup.
Yep. And so we're going to talk about all the players one by one, qualifiers. So today we are going to be talking about none other than Mr. Daigo Umehara, a.k.a. The Beast.
Yeah, Daigo won Canada Cup in 2010, which is, I think, the first Canada Cup. It was it has been a big thing the whole time, but that was a really nice, one of the first times that many players came to Western Canada. And so now in Ultra, he's using Evil Ryu rather than Ryu. In 1.04, which just came out recently, Ryu did get some buffs. Evil, slight nerf. So, I'm interested to see which one of those 2 characters he ends up with, but I think I would still expect Evil.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, Daigo was quoted as saying that he didn't feel like the fireball speed changed for Ryu. That's the most significant change he got in Ultra. He just didn't feel like that the fireball change was enough, it almost sounds like. So, obviously, Evil Ryu got a little bit of a life nerf.
Yeah, 50.
Yeah, but I got to imagine Daigo's probably going to stick with him.
Okay, well, he just played at Capcom Cup just recently.
Right, yes.
And that didn't go as he planned, I don't think. Of course, he didn't end up winning.
Yes. I mean, the interesting part is he got surprised in the winner's side by Shen.
Yeah.
And then in loser's side, PR Rog with the crazy red focus took him out there. So it'll be really interesting to see. Because the one thing that we've talked about a lot on Daigo is that in a 2 out of 3 set, okay.
Right.
Maybe you have this chance of beating him, right? But in long sets...
First 7.
Daigo is one of the hardest people to beat. I mean, he's 10-0'd so many people and just... taken out so many players. So in this situation here, where we have the ability to adapt with 7 games, first to 7, potentially 14 games, 15 games played, right? So 14, yeah, my bad. 13 games played. 13 games. I'm Asian. I'm good at math. I swear. But with potentially 13 games played, it's going to be, there's a lot of wiggle room for Daigo to adjust and adapt and such. So I think this format's going to do him really well.
I totally agree. Obviously Daigo himself has been so good for so long. He's so good at quickly categorizing players and just at making reads and excellent fundamentals. But one of the things I think that he has done better than most players over the last few years is preparation.
Yeah.
He's just is so good when he has time to prepare, when he knows who his opponents are, and when he has, as you said, more than just a couple of games to try things out and to get a rhythm. So I agree. I think this format is really going to play into his hands.
Yeah, and of course this is not an elimination format, so he's going to be playing everybody. Right? So even if one person catches him off guard, that's not going to necessarily affect anything. He still has 6 other opponents to go through.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I expect him to do really strong this tournament at Capcom Pro Asia. So they had the Capcom Pro Tour Asia finals, which was kind of a similar thing, which was a round-robin format, and Daigo did extremely well there. I think he only lost against 1 player out of everybody, and then in the end he had to play a first to 7 with Shin and beat him pretty badly there.
Pretty convincing.
Yeah, but we'll get into Daigo Shin in just a little bit.
Okay, well, let's talk about the other players who will be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the list of 7 is Daigo, Kazunoko, Luffy, Pepidai, Snake Eyes, Shen, and Xiaohai.
That's right. And again, they're going to play every single one of these.
Each of those matchups is happening. Yep.
So I mean, let's talk about some of these potential, all of Daigo's potential matchups here, right?
Sure.
So first up is Kazunoko.
Okay.
Right. So what do you think is going to happen here?
So they played not that long ago.
Okay.
Okay, they played at Topanga A-League. Daigo won 3-2.
Okay.
Not a blow-up. Pretty close. I definitely think that both of those characters, so that's Evil Ryu versus Yun.
Yeah.
Both of those characters can handle it for sure. I guess I don't love Kazunoko in long sets.
Right.
I'm not sure that his character is the best for that.
Right.
Whereas I really like Daigo in long sets. So myself, I think I would have to give the edge to Daigo.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because obviously Yun considered one of the strongest characters in this game.
Yes.
Right? But he hasn't won any majors yet. And it's because he kind of has this very high-risk style.
Yeah.
And Evil Ryu, obviously, a character that capitalizes very well because of his damage.
Doesn't have to take big risks.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if Yun makes any mistakes, you can kiss all your life goodbye, pretty much. So
yeah, low life Yun.
Yeah, so I think Daigo has potential to do really well in this matchup.
Okay. He's also playing against Luffy. So Daigo won DreamHack Winter against Luffy. This is 2013. So this is a little while ago. Okay? Right. This is in the previous version of Street Fighter 4. It's 2012.
Right.
And at the time, Rose she wasn't as good as now. Okay, she got some buffs in Ultra.
Some key ones too,
She did.
Especially EX Soul Spiral. Now can go through fireballs.
Right, so it really opens up her. She's already good against fireball characters. Already has good reflex, good absorbs, all that stuff. But that's an additional tool that I feel like kind of put her over the top in some matchups. And Luffy himself, I feel like it's not great to compare 2013 Luffy to 2014-15 Luffy.
No.
Where I called him my SF4 Player of the Year in 2014.
Same here.
He won Evo. He got third at Capcom Cup. He won almost everything in Europe.
Yep. So this one, it's hard for me to call, to be honest with you.
Very close.
I think it's going to be pretty close.
Because Luffy's not the kind of guy to lose in a long set either. I feel like he's also very good at that.
Right.
So.
Right. Okay.
Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes. Now the two Daigo Snake Eyes have not played each other, as far as I know, in a big tournament. All I have to go on is Daigo versus other Zangiefs. Okay. And at Tokyo Game Show, he played against Hagijin, one of the best Zangiefs in Japan, maybe the best. And Hagijin just kind of ripped him up.
Really?
It was quick.
Okay.
Now, to be fair, it was a 2 out of 3, I think. But Daigo didn't seem like he was that impressed. We heard later from some sources that Daigo, this is before Capcom Cup, hadn't been putting in the time against Zangief because he thought, look, he just lost to Hagijin. Right. It wasn't it's not a Zangief problem.
Yeah. A lot of people were talking about Snake Eyes having a long run in Capcom Cup, and apparently Daigo was just like, it's just Zangief. He just he wasn't even concerned about it.
Right.
So,
which I think is not the right way to go. Yeah. I do like that character.
Yeah. And now, especially with a few little small tweaks to Zangief, obviously the EX green hand standing people up can blow up, blow forwards and such like that. So I don't know. I think it's dangerous to underestimate Snake Eyes because he does have a lot of those footsies. Now, we'll get to this when we cover Snake Eyes in the future, but
hasn't been the best run for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So Daigo versus Shen. You mentioned a little bit of the history that goes into this, but it goes back a ways. But Daigo, of course, most recently lost to Shen at Capcom Cup.
Yeah, this is after previously 10-0ing him.
Correct.
In a 1-10 exhibition, and then beating him up at the Capcom Pro Tour Asia Finals. Blew him up there again. And then it was pretty much like, as soon as Capcom Cup, when you saw them go up against each other, it was like, oh, this is going to be domination. But Shen threw the craziest wrench and went with Dalsum.
Dalsum, Shen's old character. When he first started SF4, that was the first character he had success with was Sim, but that was so long ago that I think people either didn't remember it or just didn't think it was coming. Yeah. But it did, and Dalsum versus Evil Ryu is fine. Yeah. Pretty solid for Sim, and so Shen took it, I think, on the strength of that surprise.
Right. Now, someone asked Daigo why doesn't he use Yun against Dalsum.
Right,
and apparently Daigo just said it's boring.
Oh, wow.
He just doesn't enjoy it.
Wow.
It's just not fun. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Because I remember when we watched it looked like Daigo did get caught off guard a little bit at first, but he started making a couple of adjustments. Again, 2 out of 3 versus first to 7.
Right.
Huge difference.
Absolutely.
So who knows what's going to happen. I mean, maybe he even busts out regular Ryu because of the Fireball War. Might be better or something like that. Who knows, you know? But it'll be interesting to see what happens on this. I'm really curious to see if Shin just goes with Dhalsim again.
Right, yeah. You know? I don't know. I just don't know if that'll last 7 games. Especially against somebody... Look, Daigo might think that Yun is boring in that matchup, but there's quite a bit on the line, and at least I would want him to pick the character that gives him the biggest chance for success, which I think is Yun. But I think you're right to bring up regular Ryu. You know, Evil Ryu has some advantages over regular, in that he has a dive kick, which helps him get in on Dhalsim, and he has a lot more damage up close if he ever gets in. But he doesn't have as much life to give up in getting in the first place.
Right. Especially trading with fireballs with Dhalsim Stand Fierce, right?
Exactly.
It's going to be worse than it was at Capcom Cup.
Correct.
Because his life is lower now. So.
Right, which is significant. You know, I don't know really which one of those is better at this point against him. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. And then Daigo's last.
Well, you missed Peppadai.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did miss Peppadai. You're right. Fuerte versus Shotos is interesting.
See, to me, this match is not necessarily about Fuerte versus Shotos.
Is that so?
To me, it feels like this is more about Fuerte versus Daigo. So one of the things about Fuerte is that he flusters opponents, and especially Peppadai. Okay. He still plays a very old school Fuerte, kind of mix up.
He does sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, and it works really well against players who can't adapt on the fly. And I feel like Daigo is not the kind of be the person who's going to get flustered.
He won't get flustered.
Yeah. So I feel like in a first to 7, he will have enough games to just be like, okay, I'm just going to calm myself down and blow up all these Fuerte, shenanigans.
Right. Well, they played at Tokyo Game Show.
Okay.
Which is the tournament where Peppadai really came onto the international stage.
Right.
And Peppadai beat Daigo 2-0.
Right.
In that event. So again, it was a 2 out of 3.
Right.
Few people had taken Fuerte seriously before that point and hadn't really put in the research. That's changed.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Fuerte is good. Everybody knows to watch out for Peppadai.
And not only that, too, but now Daigo is aware of Peppadai.
Absolutely.
Because in Tokyo Game Show, obviously, he came out of nowhere.
Right.
I mean, he's been playing Street Fighter forever, but nobody knew who he was. So I feel like now that Daigo is like, okay, I've got this Fuerte coming at me, and if I just calm down. And again, he could have lost he might even lose the first 2 here, right? Which means he would have been eliminated like at Tokyo Game Show. But again, first to 7, I just think is the difference. So
yeah, I think a long set is not necessarily Fuerte's favor. Okay, well, we'll see. And then the last one is Xiao Hai.
Yeah. Now, Xiao Hai, I mean, you're going to hear us say this a lot. He's going to be kind of a wild card in this situation because he knows so many different characters.
Correct.
It's not that the characters that he plays are greatly varied between them.
Yeah.
Because they're all kind of rush down in your face characters.
Similar sort of goals. Yeah. Evil Ryu, Cammy, Yun.
But I don't know. Like, this one's kind of an interesting one to call. If he keeps switching around characters, like recently he's been using a lot of Evil Ryu.
Yes.
But I would imagine that maybe he'd think about going with Cammy versus Daigo.
I would think so too. But so they don't have any history in Ultra yet, but they did play before in AE 2012 and even before that in AE. In AE 2012, in 2014, Xiao Hai beat Daigo 7-4 in Topanga League. But in the previous year's Topanga League, Daigo won 7-4.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so.
But in the previous year before that, in 2012, in EVO Top 8 Losers, Xiao Hai was the one who eliminated Daigo. It's 2-0.
Yeah.
So, look, it's a different game.
Yeah. Cammy obviously nerfed a little bit from 2012. So, and enough to the point that Xiao Hai has mostly been playing. I mean, he played Evil Ryu at the latest tournament that we know of, right? So, is he going to stick with Evil Ryu? Is he going to go for the mirror match? I think that's the biggest question. And again, in a first to 7, the cool thing about it is they'll be able to switch characters a lot. And so he may try multiple characters before. I mean, the first 3 games, he could play 3 different characters if he loses them all until he figures out which one's the most comfortable,
You're right.
So,
you're right. Yeah. But I think you're right to bring up that mirror match. I guess I hadn't thought about it like that. I feel like Daigo is a dangerous mirror match opponent.
Yeah.
He has the spacing is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's gonna know Evil Ryu, I think, a little better, probably.
There aren't going to be any shenanigans, okay? And not even really that Xiaohai plays the shenanigans Evil Ryu, but Daigo's not going to get caught off guard by anything. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. But I think overall that Daigo is one of the favorites. In fact, look, I'm just going to say I feel like he's top 2 favorite for me.
Yeah. I mean, again, the format helps him.
That's
round robin, 1st to 7. That's why I kind of, like, even with Peppadai, who beat him 2-0 and such like that, that's why I still feel confident saying that he might be able to win a lot of those matchups because, again, he just does so well in long sets. So I feel like the format favors him very well.
He has the experience. He's been on big stages. We saw a picture of the stage for Master Series a little bit ago. It is a big stage,
it's
literally.
It's a nice venue,
right,
for sure.
Right, so he's not going to get flustered by that stuff. He's been there before.
Mm-hmm. And, I'm sure he was sad that he didn't win Capcom Cup because he really wanted to. So this is a good opportunity for him to, make a statement right away in 2015.
And in the past, when he has lost big matches, big tournaments, he's really studied up, and he comes back and he does things like lose to Infiltration once, and then the next time rips him up. That sort of stuff is something that Daigo is known for. So he's going to be one of the big ones.
That's right. And again, this is going to be this coming weekend. On Twitch.tv/Canada Cup, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be going all weekend long, like we said, 1st to 7, round robin. You're going to see everyone fight everyone and really see them pick each other apart. And that's going to be super exciting. So.
I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you join us physically if you can in Calgary. If not, see you on stream.